if you don't feel comfortable dealing with your finances, you are not alone. 2/3 of women, they feel like they're unprepared. So Susan Hirschman, she is doing her part to end all of that by teaching women financial empowerment in her book, Does This Make My Assets Look Fat? She joins us now from New York, but she's here with us in studio to talk a little bit more about it. So do you think that's a consensus, just that women just say, have someone else do it, or they just don't do it right?
Well, you know, 60% of women say that their interest or their knowledge level in financial planning is at a beginner level or lower.
Yeah.
And it's a confidence issue. So many women just feel that they don't have the time, they don't have the temperament, they don't have the training to get involved with their financial life. But unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever you want to say, you know, as my mother always says, because she lives here in Arizona, that the only person that's responsible for you
is you.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, and I would think too, you know, unfortunately with so many divorces that are going on, if your spouse did all of the financial stuff, and then all of a sudden you have to grow up and do it yourself.
Exactly. And you know, it's so interesting. By the time you're 65, over 45% of women are living alone. So women are living alone by choice, by widowhood, by divorce, and you just don't want to be caught with these unforeseen circumstances.
Right.
And so the more you know, the more power you have.
Well, what do you think is the most common way that the women, us women, we sabotage our finances?
Well, I think the most common way we sabotage our finances is by really not getting engaged, not taking control, not understanding, what do I have today? What do I want tomorrow? How am I going to get there? And then how am I going to review and monitor it?
Well, for a lot of us, it's just hard to understand sort of the lingo. So your book, it talks in a lingo that we can understand.
And that's
we are a different breed, you know? I mean, we think differently.
Exactly. And that's exactly why I wrote the book, is because as an industry, financial services, we tend to talk in a language that is very familiar to us, the experts, but not to most people. Just like if you go to the doctor and they start talking about things, you're like, I don't understand what you're saying.
So what language is in the book?
So the language that I translate financial services language into dieting language. And so I thought about, what is a common experience that most women share? So what is something that people are really, really familiar with? And I don't know about you, but every woman I know has practically been on a diet.
Many diets.
Yes. And so that's what I do here, is take the language of dieting, talk about it first, and then translate it into the language of investing.
Well, can you sort of give me a little example? I know we didn't talk about this in the green room, but is there a way you can give me a little example of sort of the lingo that you use that might help us a little bit?
Sure. So you think about food groups, right? And each food group has a specific attributes to it, right? And so I relate the food groups to asset classes, and each asset class has specific attributes. So for example, there's carbohydrates, right? And we all know what carbohydrates do. Carbohydrates give our body energy.
Exactly.
And I was like, wow, stocks, equities, give our portfolio
Perfect, I get
energy. And that's what it is. It's just taking the familiar and masking it to the unfamiliar. So we build confidence in our competence. So that's really the most great thing, is that this book does for you, it shows you that if you've ever been on a diet, you really have a great sense of competence in the fundamentals of investing. You just don't realize it. So
if you can understand what it takes to go on a diet with carbohydrates and what all that does, then you should be able to understand your finances as well.
100%.
So by the time we read the book, the end of the book, what will we know?
What will you know is exactly what I said. What you have, how to figure out what you have today. How to figure out what is it that you want tomorrow, defining your goals. How to define your plan, your asset allocation, all the insurances that you need. And then finally, who to help you. How do I pick an advisor? How do I go out and search, and what should I be doing to make myself that much more effective?
So it sounds like it's helping us be financially responsible for ourselves. Whether your husband does it or your spouse, whatever, by the time you read this, you could do it if you had to.
Exactly, and that's what this is. It's not about having to pick stocks and bonds. It's about knowledge and empowerment and understanding what you have.
Great. Well, you're in town for a book signing?
Now I'm in town for to do some talks with Harris Private Bank and M&I.
Okay.
And their Women in Wealth series.
Okay.
So they're empowering women, which
And you're empowering women as well.
Yes.
We are going to have all of the information on Susan's book and the appearances, where she's going to be in town. We're going to have it all on SonoranLiving.com.